Hi. So we're in the house at the moment because the guy out back, ironically, at that house that we are looking at buying, is running the weed whacker. Right? Oh, well, you can't see him because he's down the hill. But he was right there at the back fence a little while ago. So, we really can't go out there right now. There's no point in going out there right now. Let me see if I can't make a cup of coffee. Shall we go and see if we can't make a cup of coffee? Oh. You hear him. Can you hear him? I'm sure you can hear the television. But there is no one here yet, so it's all good. Tra-la-la. Oh, I need to do everything still. This is so tragic. Families are so incredibly distracting. They keep you from your art. Look at the mess on that table. Oh my god. Please don't. Oh my god. Oh. Hey, strong guy, come in here and press this coffee press, will you please? Let's go see if he's done out here, maybe, huh? Ah, the sound of silence. Call honey. Come press this coffee, please. Okay, I'm not going anywhere. So I can use this one. It doesn't fit in the cup holder. What up, Danielle? How are you doing? I almost called you Mary. You're in the tub. Well, you be careful. Thank you. Thank you, Cole.
Welcome.
Are you having your? Oh, what is it? Don't tell me. Don't tell me. That's citrus.
Oh yeah, I've had Spanish garden.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I know what it is. I know it's not oranges, but grapefruit, right? Your grapefruit soak thing, bubble bath thing, right? Oh, that is way too much. Oh crap. You can call me Mary. Calling me Danielle makes me think I'm in trouble. Yes. Oh, okay. Mary it is then. I have no trouble respecting what people want to be called. It's never been about that. And it's funny that somebody pronounced that generics. To me, it's funny because that's one of the nice things to me about my name, about the name Sarah, is it's common enough, is to be almost generic. I can literally tell people my name and have very little potential repercussions from introducing myself with my first name. Honestly, because good luck finding me based on that. What up, Susie? How you doing? Did you enjoy the video? Yes, many Sarahs. Exactly. So I can introduce myself. I can use my first name pretty securely, you know, without much concern for doxing myself. And she's a puppy. Huh? She's a good girl. Yeah, she's a good puppy. Good girl. She could not help herself but bark at that man with the weed whacker. Oh my god. Oh, now we're gonna have to leave the gate open, eat for a couple of minutes, and walk back and forth, and she will not run off because she's a good girl. Like I meant it. Oh, we did get a new tarp. There's a good shot of it, and a sunshade, which isn't helping a whole lot right now, but Enjoyed the video. Had never heard of Abby before. Really? Boy, she has some good connections. So when she first decided to take on the YouTube thing, she had a whole lot of uh, push behind her. Oh, good. It rained last night. All right, check this out. Oh, I gotta dump this. Life under a tarp. Tarp life. Oh. I need to weigh it down more. Oh. What would I do with my mornings if I didn't need to play with my tarp? Anyway, yeah, she's Ben Shapiro's little sister. Is who that is. So, which is why most people have heard of her, because they made sure of it. And I don't know if you saw, we were talking about her being on brand. That's what that was referring to. She is a representative of a brand. It's called the Daily Wire. Ooh. All right, we're gonna go collect our stuff off the back table because it's in the sun. And no. We're not doing that. Inanimate objects don't cooperate very well. Why is that? It's like they have a bad attitude. I don't know. Oh. And my bag got wet. Oh no. Oh, I'm wearing the headphones. Did you see that? Did you see? It is a beautiful day here. It rained last night though, so everything is a little damp. How's the weather where you are? I'm gonna have to put it down somewhere. This might work. Let's see if this works. Oh, it's windy over here. Gosh. And now we have the sign and shot and everything. Haha. Okay. Cheers. But so yes, Abby is belongs, I guess you could say, to one of the more obscure media arms of something much bigger. So having her say stuff like that is particularly pernicious, like particularly bad. Okay. And I have been waiting, like I said, for her to say something that was really in my wheelhouse. Okay. You want to talk about classic beauty and whatever? I mean, shooting fish in a barrel, really, but not exactly on brand for me. However, this one was maybe a month old. I don't subscribe to her channel. So I haven't been like actively waiting. But I figured it would float through the ecosystem if something were especially pertinent. Did I really leave the bag with everything in it in the house? Welcome to my world. Let's go get the stuff. My hairbrush and my, because I have to wash my face, you guys. Oh, I try to keep the video to 30 minutes or less. This one was closer to 32. partly for you guys because if you want to come to the premiere, you don't know how long the thing you're about to watch is. Like, it doesn't let you see that. Hi, little man. There it is. Oh, here comes my resident goblin. Oh my gosh. Okay. What was I saying? Oh my goodness. Excuse me. It's pretty nice. I'm in the Bahamas. I know, but it's not all paradise when you live here. It is still third world after all. Plenty of misogyny. Ooh. And yes, he is adorable. He knows it too. Let's see. No, like nowhere is paradise. Paradise is not a real place. If it were, everyone would live there. But I'm sorry to hear about the misogyny. I live in the South, the American South. So, yeah, we dabble in that around here too. But yeah, that's what I was saying. I try to keep the video to a certain 30 minutes or less. Partly for, the viewer and consistency and all that, but also partly because after the premiere, I have that much time to get ready for this. I could have done it before, but we were having breakfast. And her name is Abby Roth now, and I do try to do her the honor of referring to her by her current name. But in her case, it's a bit deceptive because it obscures who she is, and why on earth she's in front of anyone's face, right? Based on, and this is going to sound so insulting. I don't mean to be insulting, but literally, the only reason anyone knows who this girl is and anyone is listening to her is because of who her brother is, right? Not necessarily because they went, oh, I like Ben Shapiro, I wonder what his sister is like. But, that's why she's in front of the camera and has access to the media framework and the funds to accomplish this stuff. And boy, did I see a lot of ads for her stuff when it first came out, which, based upon my watch history, is not outrageous. But it was excessive, even with that, accounting for that. So, she's been on my radar for, a couple years at least. Does anybody remember when that was, when Abby Shapiro made her first, big YouTube debut? Because I was not the only person who got flooded with ads for her channel. That's why there are a lot of other commentary videos out there. And I want to say most of them, her first big breakout was, she offended a whole lot of people with one particular video. I'm trying to remember what it was. That's Ben Shapiro's sister? Oh, right. I didn't. Right. Mm-hmm. And see, once you know that, you're like, oh, well, yeah, she looks and sounds like him. Not just like him, like they're twins or something, but the idea that they are closely related. Yeah, I see it, right? But so to have someone in that position, socially, culturally, media landscape saying these things, this Iron Age shit, okay, and based on nothing, she didn't even invoke God or something, nothing, just that existing in the zeitgeist with probably a whole lot of money and, like I say, media power behind it. Yeah, that needs to be addressed. I'm not happy that I'm the one to be doing it. Not because I don't want to do it, but because, we just have our little channel over here, which you guys can join now for $2.99 a month. And, you know, my husband said the funniest thing. Like a couple weeks ago, he was just kind of mulling stuff over, and he comes out with, "You're going to have to hire somebody to help you, aren't you?" Yes, I am. Eventually. Yes, that's how this works. Yeah, silly, but just, oh, so funny.
Sarah,
Yes,
I love you.
I love you. Terrifying. Oh my god. Stochastic affection. I don't know. It's weird stuff. Oh. I wish my hair would grow long enough so I could braid it again. Oh. But, like, yeah, she framed. And I'm sorry if the video was confusing to anyone. She framed the discussion so very badly, okay, by invoking was it Raw Beauty Christie, who I should go and look up, but I did not, because, forgive me, it's not really relevant to the point at hand. But she referred to this person as coming down on the opposite side of this. And I just thought, so wait, you think the opposite of having to do something is getting to decide whether or not you do something? No, 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 no. And I pretended to accept that for a minute because just to set up how ridiculous what she's actually saying is. It's a false dichotomy where she's set up choice over motherhood as equally extreme to having it be mandatory. It's no. The opposite of it being forced upon you is to have it taken from you entirely. Right? Lest we forget logic. Okay? Which Abby has, but I'm not. I'm a fan of logic. And it leads me inescapably to the conclusion that what works for me might not work for everyone. I don't understand. The only reason that this could possibly not be somebody's MO is because they're so insecure that watching other people be happy doing other things terrifies them. This really bothers them. They makes them wonder if maybe they might be happy doing something else. That's the only reason that would bother you. That's the only reason you would need to tell everyone what to do. Right? Come up with another reason, I've never been able to come up with another real reason for that. Like, it's even possible to be a fundamentalist, whatever, and not feel that way. I've met atheists who feel this way. You can't even blame God. You can't blame religion. There are just some people who are insecure like this. Regardless of however they justify it. People are people wherever you go, and that's true both geographically and philosophically, I guess is what I'm saying. Oh my gosh, I need to go and get some more cotton rounds. What up, Brad? Oh, I am washing my face. Oh my goodness, because I made this a video a little long, and then I was distracted by this breakfast in this company, and it's disgusting. It's as disgusting as this weather. What is it? Another glorious morning. Makes me sick. Oh, sorry, that's the red-haired witch, isn't it? Oops. There is an association I never appreciated, actually. There, I said it. I don't like Winifred Sanderson. Who the fuck does? You're not supposed to. She is the villain of the piece. Right? Come on. And this whole rooting for the villain thing is like, I mean, you want to have a villain era? Honey, that is on you. But if that just means acting in a self-interested way consistently, then I would hesitate to characterize that as villainy. And I think we're all doing a disservice by doing that. Yeah, you should post your breakfast so they can see your Nigel treats you love. You must be on the West Coast time or Central time. I'm Eastern time, so had my coffee hours ago. Girl, nah. It's 12:30 here too. This is my second cup, to be fair. Oh. And please excuse me. I wanted to do this before I got on here. But I'm not going to not do it. Look like a fucking raccoon. So yeah, I wear makeup because I dyed my hair dark, and if I don't have any eyelashes, and I just am not ready to try and rock the Mona Lisa look. You have to be a particular sort of classic beauty in order to get away with that. I do not flatter myself that I am that. Oh my goodness. I want eyelashes. I do. I mean, that's my glib explanation. That's my jokey explanation. My real explanation is I don't like looking at myself. Like, I want eyelashes. Straight up. And, makeup is a pretty common topic in the radical feminist community. So, doing this on camera, like every other week, is fun. But it does give me the opportunity to repeat my position on the topic, which is that it's a tool like anything. It has been a tool of oppression, that is for damn sure. But it doesn't necessarily have to be. And if you didn't necessarily know that I had mascara on, would you? It's literally all I do. And the only reason I do it is because I wanted to have dark hair for a while and I want my eyelashes to match, and I can't dye my eyelashes, that I know of. They don't like you to put it, not your eyes. I quite liked your red hair. Yeah, thank you. It's sort of a social experiment that I'm running because I'm weird like that. Oof. It is a bit of a pain. And you see how much other makeup I wear. So commonly my habit historically has been to wear none. Maybe a little bit of lip gloss, to add a bit of color to my face because, well, it brings out the color in my face, which is already there. And I think it looks nice. Like, again, it's a tool, but I sympathize and I understand with so many. They do eyelash dyeing as well as eyebrow. Not sure how safe it is. Oh, no, I dyed the eyebrows. No, I did. Oh, you think I'm going to put mascara on my eyebrows every day? No. Look at how chipped these nails are. Okay, I cannot do all that. Like, and I'm not gonna blame the kids. I'm not gonna blame the kids because even when I was 20 and I had the time, I didn't wear a bunch of makeup, and I would, paint my nails every once in a blue moon, and then it would chip off, and that would be that. I'm just that girl. I'll wear the same earrings for a month. I'm just that girl. That's just who I am. And it's not because I don't care. It's because I'm preoccupied with other shit. I will literally forget about it. They do that Indian dye, don't they? I don't know. I I don't know. I don't know. It's I don't think it's that deep. It's cool. I'll just, put on the stuff and live with it for now. Oh, what up, big plans? I'm sorry, I didn't even see you there. How's the weather over there today? It's nice here. Apparently, it's nice in the Bahamas today too. So we've had a couple of quadrants check in. Oh, putting on makeup on camera, like some kind of weirdo. This is not a tutorial. If that weren't obvious. Nice and mild. Awesome. I mean, like, I don't think Bailey Sarian would necessarily object to being characterized as a weirdo. I feel like she's referred to herself that way. So the fact that she basically makes her living putting makeup on camera while she talks about stuff, there are various copycat channels too, but I think she was the original person to come up with that idea, right? Uh, I don't know this for a fact, but I've been on YouTube for a long time, and she was the first one I saw. And then there was a lag, and then there were a bunch of other channels like that. So, I drew my own conclusions there, admittedly. But I do enjoy her content, and even as she has scaled up and clearly gotten a team behind her, right? I still enjoy her content. Sometimes she like, and the way I came up with this topic was, and there's like 4 people who wrote the episode, and you're like, girl, is that a true story? You don't have to you don't have to do that, but it's fine. She's an interesting sort of presenter persona. It's like half kids present, like half children's show host and half Elvira. It's very interesting. Do any of you watch makeup tutorials, real crime channels? Right, definitely a combination. I didn't see coming, but my eldest 2 love them. Right, no, that's Bailey Sarian is I think the original one of those. That's what I was saying. And it's not just for me. For me, I don't know that. I guess not everyone is, and it's not. This isn't true for. Well, yeah, I don't know. For me, a lot of times it's not necessarily the structure of the channel or the structure of the video. It is the presenter. Like there are channels I've watched hours and hours of because I enjoy the persona who's presenting the stuff as well as the information and the structure. That's the gravy, right? That's where more than the sum of its parts comes into play. And you got to put your personality into your videos, right? Or you have to put some personality into your videos. But so I don't tend to watch like all those channels. I know that there is a plethora of them. They proliferated, after she became successful, I believe. It's hard to say, but this was my observation through time. And more power to them because that's an interesting, first of all, it involves showing your face, which takes some guts. Second of all, it involves showing your face without any makeup on, which takes some guts. I'm not anti-makeup, just never enjoyed it. I have very sensitive skin. But I'm not anti-makeup. Like my crime without makeup though. Yeah. Right, yeah, and it's so obviously very possible to find plenty of true crime without having to watch some chick put makeup on her face. But like I say, Bailey Sarian, I enjoy her as a person, as a persona, as a presenter. She makes me laugh, and I don't know, there's just something about her. And Mary's anti-makeup, and that is a legitimate stance to take. And it's good that there are people who are okay because the shit needs addressed. It is problematic, and I'm not saying that it isn't. Bottom line, I think of it as a tool. That's how I use it. I know that some women just literally cannot do that. That is things are so ingrained in them, especially if like your mom taught you stuff like from when you were little. Like, speaking of which, what is it, baby butt? What is it, Gremlin?
Mama,
What?
are you almost done with your live stream?
No, honey.
What?
I just getting started.
What?
I got an hour and a half, baby.
An hour and a half?
Yeah, you should go find your daddy.
Is an hour and a half shorter or longer
Then what?
than an hour?
It is longer than an hour.
How is it longer than an hour?
Well, it's an hour and then a half an hour. So it's like this. See, can you? Oh my god, he's so cute. Yeah. Yeah, my mom always told me to wear makeup, so I'm rebelling and super anti-makeup, right? Tell him to watch 12 episodes of Invader Zim. You've seen him. I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. Hey.
I've actually watched the movie Invader Zim. Like,
go find your daddy.
5 or 6 times.
Tell your daddy I sent you. Okay? I love you. We're going to paint our kitties when I'm done. But I'm not going to be done for a while. So please don't get impatient, okay?
I am impatient.
Huh?
I am impatient.
Okay, but don't let it get the better of you is what I mean. Go distract yourself and find something to do.
I don't know what to do.
I know you don't. You got to go find it.
What?
Keep him away from Blue's Clues and anything Disney. Well, we don't have to worry about that because we don't even have Disney.
Hey, Mom.
Huh?
Just imagine your live stream in 1 second.
Yeah, it'd be over a long time ago. Go watch Futurama. Don't they have a new episode out or something?
No.
Am I going to have to count? Go find your daddy. And if I find out that you didn't go and find your daddy, I'm going to be mad. Excuse me. We've apparently had the plague going around the house, and nobody knew it until my husband sprang up with a fever and actually went to the doctor. Whoops. But so, I mentioned I've been under the weather. Apparently, I was further under the weather than I realized. And now I'm listening to myself. My voice sounds funny today. This is fun. And I'm going to have a cigarette anyway because the 19, yeah, that's kind of what we all jokingly refer to it as. He called it the big C the other day. I'm not going to do that. That's asinine. Oh my God. But I don't want to say it either. The worldwide communicable thing that everybody was dealing with and they're still dealing with, and yeah, that the sandemic. I can't. I don't know. Apparently YouTube has been the censorship industrial complex. Yeah, right? I've seen various rumblings here and there about them cracking down on this and that lately. I'm finally just starting to get some traction. I'm just trying to start a conversation. Well, several conversations. So, getting bitten by the censorship bug would really just torpedo everything that I've been trying to do. So hit the join button, support the channel for $2.99 a month, and I don't know if that insulates me at all, but I do, having crossed that threshold, I sort of feel like maybe I'm under a little bit more of a microscope, and like my metrics changed. Okay, so that's fun. From 1 week to the next, my metrics changed. The rules are so vague. God only knows what they will let us say. Right, precisely. So the temptation is to say nothing. So then how are we supposed to have a conversation? And, there's always Igpe Atenle. But not everyone speaks that, and that's a pain in the ass. But I have yet to find an algorithm that can keep up with that. I Avhe, Etje, Ute, Einfe, Ene, Garithmalge? Other languages are better. Well, yes, but I don't actually speak any of those. Most of my audience is US and probably doesn't speak any of those either. Perhaps Spanish, which again, I don't. I don't understand Pig Latin. Well, that's okay, because Pig Latin is a pain in the ass. I didn't even get all the way through that sentence. Oh my gosh. I speak Ebonics. Yes, but you want to talk about something that gets flagged by algorithms. Ebonics is peppered with what in most dialects are considered to be expletives. The vid, that's what we can call. The cats are having a fight. Well, you guys know that like golden ale that 20 years ago was like popular with frat boys. So like in my head I've been referring to it as the beer, like, because every time someone said the word no Corona, like the ring on the sun, like, yeah, is a beer, okay? That in my experience anyway was popular with frat boys when I was in college. So every time, I think the camera's dirty. Every time someone said that word, I swear to God, for the first year of this nonsense, that was what I thought of, was beer. So and it took me a while to take it seriously because of that, which also I just kept on thinking, those people, the people at that beer company must be tearing their hair out. Their brand is never going to recover from this. Frat boys like Bush Light, cooler guys use the lines. Oh, okay, whatever. Idiots. Of some variety or another. Maybe I didn't hang out with frat boys, but I don't, which random ass college party did I end up at? I don't fucking know. I don't remember. Not Bud Light? Oh no. That's Hicks, isn't it? That's Rednecks? I don't know. I don't drink beer. I don't know. Frat parties, I think, are just a bad idea for most people to attend. They're not good for anyone. Gosh, and fraternities, I think, from the outside, speaking from the outside, they appear to be like the rotted out corpse of something that was some sort of prestige and has just sort of been left as this entitlement. This social entitlement. I don't, that you can just sort of sign up for. I don't know. And I will be damned if I wanted to go and join that pecking order at the bottom and find out. What kind of masochism is that? Which says to me that they think that shit is mandatory too. Got kicked out of pledging a co-ed chemistry fraternity. Wanted to join because of a cute guy. Well, okay. Thank you. You just gave me another motivation why people might do that kind of stuff. That's a lot healthier, actually. than thinking you have to. I would much rather think that people join those things, for dating opportunities. When you're 20, that makes perfect fucking sense. What up, Philological? How you doing? Wanted a reason to talk to him. Oh my god, right? See, that's blisteringly, blindingly normal, right? To join a club so you can talk to a guy who's in the club. Yep. Yep. That's much better than thinking you have to. That's a much better reason to join any club. Thank you. Yeah. You see, there's a demonstration of number one, I am a cynic. Number two, things are not always what they appear at first glance to you, right? Maybe you're just a cynic. Shit. In 20 years, the trans identifying males will be the only women in sororities. Oh my god. See, the disgusting thing about that is they will be a new generation, and the ones who are transitioning now will probably all mostly be deceased in 20 years. Right? Because no, in 20 years, I personally hope that this will all be one of those terrifying memories that I tell my grandkids about, and my kids have to kind of nod solemnly along and go, yeah, that shit happened. And the grandkids are like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? I've had that experience from the other side, so I am hopeful. You don't think it's true? Those hormones are very bad for people. The opposite hormones are very bad. Hormones are integral to the functionality of your organs. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. I do not wish these people ill. And as far as social transition goes, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not so dangerous. Okay, it's putting these synthetic hormones in your body for years and years and years. That is dangerous. Okay. What up, Critical Kitty? Oh my god, those girls down the shore that wanted my Facebook info, Instagram recommended them as friends. One has they, he pronouns. They're turf-phobes and wanted to dox me. Oh my god. With all due respect, that sounds like fear-mongering and appeal to nature. Okay. I have seen some pretty compelling evidence that living with high level, artificially high levels of, the opposite hormones is pretty severely detrimental to your internal organs. There's a special place in hell for turfs. Tim's would demand equal access. Oh my god. Guys, please don't fight. Come on. I have friends who have socially transitioned with no intention to take HRT. Okay, see, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not the dangerous thing that I'm referring to that might kill people. Because social transition is not physically harmful on its own. I mean, some ignorant brat, people might hit you, beat you up, but that's not what you did. That's not you endangering yourself. That's them being an asshole. Looking at the risks and stuff. I had to go over studies with my doctor, looking at the risks and stuff. It's harmful to deny who you are. Right. See, and this is a point of disagreement that I think we all know about. Right? It's bad to disconnect from your body. Right. But so we're not going to start moralizing here, okay? That's not why we're here. It can be very destructive to do that. It doesn't necessarily have to be, and I'm uncomfortable, like I said in the video, with I would have to see. I've actually seen evidence to the contrary, so I can't necessarily I don't want to make a blatant statement there. I'm not comfortable with making, as the moderator, as the channel leader, I am uncomfortable with making that blanket statement. Social transition is a iatrogenic harm. It leads to puberty. Right. No, and when it comes to kids, oh no. They don't even have hardly have a sexed self yet. Like, that's trying to swap something for them that doesn't even really exist yet. Like, that's so bonkers and bizarre, and there's no way that they understand that. And no, 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 no. On the other hand, if your kid is a tomboy, let her be a fucking tomboy. Jesus, leave them alone. Let the kids be kids, whatever. But like, okay, all other things being equal, if a man wants to be the most feminine presenting person who ever walked this earth, I do not care. Don't try and convince me you're a woman. But you can go by, I was going to say Glenda. I'm sorry. That was a reference to something. That's not fair. Let's, all other things being equal, right? You can go by a woman's name. You can basically live as a woman. But, like, do not lie to your potential sexual partner. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's lifestyle elements, and then where the line is of what affects other people has been blurred all to hell, which is actually one of the topics of next week's video. They can't live as a woman. No, right. But what I'm saying is you can use a woman's name. You can wear women's clothes. You can wear all the makeup you want. You can grow your hair out. You can have pretty nails. You can do all of that. And I do not see that as affecting me negatively in any way whatsoever. Frankly, what you're doing is demonstrating that all that femininity stuff is not intrinsically linked to being a female person at all. Which would seem to be doing me a favor in the long run, I think, right? Adults can do as they choose and leave our spaces alone. Yeah, right. But see, we can't have this conversation about, unlike Philological, who I notice has not participated in a minute, and I am sorry. Not all trans people are denying who they are. Most of us are fully aware of what sex we are. Right. But see, those people get trampled on in this conversation. Okay, the ones who would respect our spaces and are not going to come up and try and convince you that they are a woman. I am a biological woman. No, like those the reasonable ones, okay? Who are the gender benders who, as I illustrated a minute ago, could work with us. Okay? Because that's what they're demonstrating. They're demonstrating that all that feminine shit is not connected to being female. If they can do it, if they want to do it, if they enjoy it and are good at it, what does that show us? That a male person can't be that way. What does that demonstrate? That women aren't necessarily. You see where I'm going with this? We want them. Okay. And lumping them in with all of the extremely loud, crazy people who are trying to deny material reality is not helping anyone. I don't know that I've put that into words before, but that's how I feel about that. And that's why I'm not necessarily against drag queens, again, because they don't claim to actually be women. And they demonstrate that you can have the most beautiful makeup in the world and still be a man. I support that idea. Y'all femi dudes, please come. Please, you are welcome here. Okay? You are welcome here. And I'm sorry that it sometimes is a point of argument and it's a point of disagreement over, what living one's truth is. I personally don't think we're going to settle that today. Right, the ones demanding access to our spaces are proving how very male they are. Correct. And how batshit they are in denying that. Okay? But so if a guy comes along and wants to be the most feminine presenting person on earth, while saying, yeah, but I know I'm a man. I'm not insane. Great. Please. Come on. You're welcome here. Okay? Like, old Eddie Izzard was one of my favorite people. The action transvestite. Okay? I loved that shit. Because I was like the antithesis of that growing up. Okay? And quite frankly, that probably helped me work through a lot of my own stuff. That idea. That it's possible to sort of mix and match, a la carte, your personality and have that work. So, I was really upset actually a few years ago when he demonstrated that whatever he's doing is really not working for him. Eddie Izzard has talked about how she enjoys scaring women in the toilets. Who does that? Right, that's a mad person. That's a crazy person. That is not someone anyone should want to be associated with, right? That's someone who's off their rocker. That's someone who's, train is run off the track. I could use 100 different metaphors. That's sadistic. That's who does that. Sadists. Certainly not a model for being a healthy, functioning, kind person in society. Right, exactly. Exactly. And the fact that you know that means that he felt okay in admitting this, which speaks volumes about our cultural climate and says nothing good. His fetish got the better of him. Right. And that just so what was all that stuff about being the action transvestite? What was all that stuff that actually spoke to me? This was 20 years ago. We've all grown up a lot since then, but like I say, those ideas genuinely helped me find my way out of the gender woods. I wrote a blog post about it, but I tell you, I genuinely don't understand this one. I'm not sure what happened there. Oh my goodness, I did see somebody talking about autoandrophilia the other day, though, which is exactly what it sounds like. To be fair, it may have been Ariel Scarcella, and she goes out of her way to find the weirdos. Still love gender-bending dudes, but not ones violating our boundaries. Exactly. But that is an important distinction to make for them and for us. That's my position there. But it can be very difficult to differentiate, apparently even for them, from one decade to the next, So that's frustrating and can be disappointing and can be frightening and possibly dangerous. But this is a conversation that needs to be had, and it's not going to be possible to have it. You brought up fear-mongering, philological, and, that is definitely not what I'm trying to do. As far as I understand, this is just like, chemistry, an appeal to nature. Like, nature is not necessarily good by, nice to us. Nature is not necessarily, going to care for us. Like, that's not what I mean. But, just as far as the internal functionality of the homeostasis of your body, it's fairly mechanistic, but it's a chemical mechanism, right? So if you fiddle with that, it can have drastic effects. Some of them can be very bad. That is what I mean to say. How did all go so wrong from 90s gender bending to now? It's so puzzling how the message turned in this way. Yeah, that is weird, isn't it? I don't know, the homeostasis in my body seems to result in me being miserable. Right. And see, I never argued with you about that. And I would never, I think that's very interesting, because I'm going to go ahead and presume that you're correct about yourself. But that doesn't fit my understanding. So, that's just sort of a data point kind of off here, but it is on there. And it's one of those things a lot of times, when you get the broader picture, it starts to make more sense. I really don't know you well enough necessarily to try and see that broader picture. I'm certainly not going to tell you that you're wrong. Personally, I would be concerned long term about that, but my concern is both irrelevant and hopefully less informed than your doctors. right? So I ain't going to try to tell you what to do. Some D-trans folks, though, seem to have an inverse experience to me. When they start HRT, they get quite depressed. See, and perhaps you had some sort of an inborn hormonal imbalance. That's possible. I'm not an endocrinologist. Obviously, I do not make that claim. And hopefully you're seeing one. So they would, be more educated on this than me. Yeah, I'd love to get fully tested one day. It's fascinating. You're right. And I think that this is why you and I do get along, even though we don't necessarily agree on everything, because I really do just want to know what the truth is. I really do. And if I end up being wrong about some shit, then, well, I expected that. Wouldn't you know it? I expect that. We'll probably have studies on this in the future, and that'll be cool. Right. Yeah. And I do respect you because we can have these conversations. Because I'm not sitting here trying to tell you what to do. And, I expect it for myself too. I've already been wrong on so much. Right. The older you get, the more often it happens. So you either have to sort of become humble or become, like, narcissistic, I think. There's only two options there. I don't know. When I went on birth control as a female, it made me go bonkers. So yes, messing with hormones isn't good. It may provide temporary relief, but long-term harm. Well, see, I was on hormonal birth control for years. And as far as I know, I got away with it. I did not gain or lose any strange amount of weight. I did not suddenly become attracted or unattracted to any male person in my life. I have not noticed any real strong emotional impact for or against. I literally was on the shit for most of 20 years at one point. But your mileage may vary, obviously. I also it's another odd one where some people seem to react super differently. Right. That's the other thing. This stuff is not the same. I've said this about diet too. Mary and I have had this conversation because she's very carnivore and I'm not carnivore, but like I don't want to give up my fruit. Like I couldn't give up fruit. Like I would die. I would be sad. I would be so sad I would die from sadness if I had to get, like, I literally have a bag of apples on the table right here. See, like I did not plan this. So, I think diet needs are often, even especially as you get older, different for everyone. And wouldn't you know it, maybe hormones are too. Does anyone know if there are factors in determining which reaction a woman has to it? No. No, they don't. No, they don't. Women's healthcare is really fun in that no one knows anything. You would be shocked. You will be shocked. It is shocking. You just kind of roll the dice. And yeah, I have a friend who had a strong negative reaction to the hormonal birth control and is allergic to latex. So, yeah. Wow is right. Mm-hmm. Oh, kitty. Excuse me. Hello, Jennifer. Did you lose your fight? I'm sorry. Tom is twice his size, to be fair, so he's over here licking his wounds. Poor baby. F for the cat. Oh, we don't grade around here. It's so judgmental. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. Getting over the Ona Ray. Oh my goodness. I'm still smoking because I'm a genius. Never forget it. Yeah, hormones. But so your mileage may vary. And I would have been in line for mine at 13, 12, 13. If someone had told me, you'll get him next time, bud. Yeah. Maybe. Tom is a lot bigger than he is and like probably twice his age, too. So they're fighting over the driveway and the front yard. It's really funny. He's got me on his side, though, because he's our cat. You really want a cat again? Well, can you not get one? I know you moved, right? For a few months, I stayed with this woman, and her cats basically adopted me. Aww. Move around too much. Yeah. That's a bummer. Having the outside cats wigs me out. I grew up in an urban area. Like, our cats were indoor cats. Yeah, this one was shy of strangers. So whenever the door opened, he'd come in my room and hide under my bed. Oh, what up, useless strawberry? Just saw today's video. The use of bodies line from Abby scares me. Love that little guy. So is that what, like, people were talking about Get Out for? Like that movie Get Out? I feel like I missed something, honestly, because I saw that movie once. When it came out, I think. And she is definitely creepy. Yeah. These people hear themselves. Yeah. No, I don't think she does. You have to kind of, and this is going to sound deceptive from what I actually mean by this, but you have to see it from her perspective, which is that she believes all that stuff, or is desperately trying to. So no, she's not seeing it from the outside because she can't afford to do that. She might break the spell. Oh my goodness. And like, I'm so sorry. If I have to go and leave you guys out here, go to the bathroom, I hope that's okay, because I may have to do that. I think they see the current climate towards we women and are desperately trying to make sense of it like assault. Right. Yeah. Like humans are tools for something, I guess God, right? Yeah. Yeah. No, the religious overtones are heavy to the point where, like I said, I was surprised that she never actually mentioned it. Is the whole God says part supposed to be just assumed? I suppose. We are going to have to go and get the cord for the computer, I think, one way or another. Ooh. Doggone it. But thanks to Mary, I can actually walk in the house and not lose everything. So much of the Bryce glamorization of tradwifery seems like it's, selling point is an escape from a grinding capitalist economy. Yes. Isn't it interesting how it's just another form of escapism? That's another part. That's what, it's going to be sort of the queer identity is the escapist on the left, and the trad thing is the escapism on the right. But they're kind of two versions of a similar, maybe the same thing. The escapism would explain why most of these influencers aren't mothers themselves, right? Now, Abby did actually put her money where her mouth was and has a baby. And I think I may have heard that she's pregnant again, but, I swear it occurred to me halfway through that what she was saying means that she didn't think she had a choice, which is really sad. Of course she doesn't like that idea. Why should anyone have a choice? She didn't. That's terrible. OnlyFans, OnlyFans versus trad wives. God, that's dire. Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it? Oh my god. Like, but speaking for myself, like I say, I'd be a trans man if I were 20 years younger. I absolutely would be. If any women want to do it. Oh, wait, it's sad and strange as well because, see, she seems like she might even genuinely want motherhood. Right, yeah. That's that is always interesting when you see someone like she might just come to the same pretty much the same conclusions anyway. So, like actually considering your lifestyle choices don't necessarily mean that you're going to have to make an overhaul of everything. That's a good point. It is possible to avoid, I want to say, having a midlife crisis where you suddenly realize that you've had your head up your ass for 25 years. This has been my theory all along. In that, you should just be honest with yourself in the first place. Maybe the cognitive dissonance for Abby is that she feels the need to play up motherhood because of her conservative background, like saying it's more important than any career path could be. Right, because she feels limited to that. She referred to it as a career, which is so both understandable because I see that. Like, I've seen that philosophy. Goodness knows, we've all encountered that. But, like, it's also so incredibly wrong. Like, the projects you work on in a career are not people. What the fuck? When there are things like a career in opera that she gave up to become a full-time mom and maybe she feels regret over that. Yeah. She's desperately trying not to feel regret over that. And she said something about ignoring your fertility. It's like, girlfriend, you'll be fertile till you're like 40 at least, right? You don't have to and there are also women out there who do both. Literally, who have singing careers and babies at the same time. But who the fuck do you think it was that told her she wasn't allowed to even attempt to do that? Who they wouldn't help her do that? Because that shit requires support. It's a weird thing, because giving up that career could still be the best choice for her. She doesn't need to frame it as the only acceptable. Right. She may have come to the same decisions anyway. And here's the other thing about it. Like I say, your kids are only kids for so long, and they're only little for so long, okay? Like, motherhood is not a lifetime sentence to diaper changes. No. Sometimes you can only do one thing and have to sacrifice others. That's life. That's right. But all things must pass also, right? Babies do not stay babies, notoriously. And a lot of mothers have a lot of strong feelings about that one way or another. But they don't. That's a universal truth. Babies do not stay babies. So, basically, to take the whole classic Betty Friedan angle on it, just investing that much of your personality into your kids is incredibly unhealthy for you and them. To say nothing of how unnatural it is for the human mind to twist itself into, my mother really struggles with that, not to get too personal. Right, yeah, no, a lot of mothers really struggle with that because there is this cultural expectation, and it's a lot less common than it used to be. She was raised with those really conservative values, thinking that motherhood was the most important thing. So now she just doesn't see the point of doing anything which doesn't involve it. Right. And you see how, it's possible to actually hold these weird beliefs. She's not pretending that she believes that. And she's just, She seems to just stay in the house watching YouTube unless one of us is in. Oh, see, that's sad. And, that's called being codependent, right? I've seen that in other relationship dynamics. It's fairly common, unfortunately, in the dating world, especially when you're younger. And I gotta go find the cord for this thing before it dies. Oh my god. Please don't die on me, little machine. Oh no. Oh. Hey, I gotta find the phone cord. Maybe this is it here. No, that's the fan cord. The computer cord. It's actually what I'm looking for. Did I say phone cord?
You did.
Yeah.
Is there anything I have to? I mean,
Find me a computer cable.
is it this one over here?
Yeah, probably. They're all.
If it helps, I am watching you. You could have just texted me and I would have got it. Like, I got you up on this screen right here.
Oh, that's funny. Oh my god. That is bizarre. Any of them would probably do. Oh, here we go. Because they're all HP. So.
You know, all due respect to Mary, I do value your beauty. I love you.
I love you too. Stop embarrassing me now. I gotta go back outside. All right. Ooh. I gotta actually plug in the cord into the wall. Everything works so much better when it's actually connected to a power source, doesn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Bam. Okay. Still running. Hooray. Modern day American Gothic. Modern day something. Anyways, yeah, women are basically encouraged to be entirely codependent with their kids. Thank you. I hadn't quite thought of it like that. But that is definitely true. And when you think of it like that, doesn't it become more obviously unhealthy? Well, no, codependency is not healthy, right? But that's what that is. And it reminds me of the hero's journey and the prodigal son and whatever, and how in that hero's journey, the only modern myth, where the fuck is his mom? Where do middle-aged women fit into that narrative? He leaves her behind, at the most, maybe crying at the kitchen door, waving her handkerchief, right? Like, that's how you're supposed to break that codependency, I guess. I just, these are the stories that we tell ourselves, the narrative that we give the world. And we're only allowed one. And they call it the fucking mono myth, for God's sake. I have to go, but thank you for the chat. We'll look out for more. Yeah, we'll see you around, Susie. Thank you for joining us today, and this has been fun. And for, participating in chat. I love to have good conversations on here. So many academic theories are male-centric. It's a problem. So true. And I don't think that Joseph Campbell was necessarily imagining things. Or if he was imagining the same thing that a lot of other men through history have also imagined, and that he was perhaps observing that, I'm not saying that's not a popular story arc, a popular story structure, and I'm not saying that it doesn't work. It's not the only one. It shouldn't be the only one. I'm not the only one saying this either. But how widely accepted this has become. The number of people who know about the hero's journey have no fucking idea who Joseph Campbell was. I made this mistake several times where I was having a conversation with someone and they mentioned the hero's journey. And so I started talking about Joseph Campbell and they had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. Like, he coined it, did he not? Isn't that the title of one of his books? That I might be wrong about, but it's something like that. I actually had an English teacher in high school who was fairly obsessed with the man, so. Thanks, Mr. I don't remember his name. I remember his face, but I do not remember this man's name. My freshman English teacher. Sorry, dude. I do remember your Joseph Campbell obsession. And I never did get around to reading Animal Farm. Sorry about that. That's all right. I failed his class, and that's why I ended up having to take English in summer school and read Lord of the Flies. I should have just read Animal Farm. Oh my God. Not that you need to read a book after sitting through, weeks worth of English class discussion on it. I've had many an intelligent conversation about books from that. That face when you said you had to read Lord of the Flies. Oh my God. Oh. Because in summer school, they don't have those fabulous class-long discussions, right? They just make you read the book and take a test on it. So I had to actually read the fucker. And you know what no one mentioned? And what I've never seen in any analysis of this book, actually, because it's fairly popular, as a literary reference. Does anyone know who the Lord of the Flies is? I stumbled upon this somewhere else. Unconnected with this novel, actually. But the idea that this isn't a reference to it, when you know who that is like, it must be. But I don't know, Mary, are you still here? Philological, do you know who Lord of the Flies actually is? Like, I stumbled upon this in some of my theological research. There's a hint for you. The Lord of the Flies, this isn't mentioned in the book. The Lord of the Flies in the book is a boar's head with, is a rotting pig's head on a stick. No. In the real world, the Lord of the Flies is one of the many names given to the devil. Which the idea that title isn't a reference to that. Because of course it is. I'm not an English teacher, but I like to think that if I were going to be, analyzing this book, I would put that in there somewhere. Shit, I might start with that. It's certainly thematically consistent with the story. Which is actually an illustration of something that science has disproven, I think. And that, life disproves, I think, which is that people are just chaotic and evil at the end of the day. That if you put a bunch of little kids on a deserted island, they would murder one another. Aw. Which is hilarious, because if you think about it, that's essentially what mankind was at the beginning, was a bunch of little kids on a deserted island. And, yeah, we have some pretty bad skirmishes, but wouldn't you know it, we've managed not to murder each other all the time. That's not even our favorite pastime. I hate that people are evil stuff. Right. Yeah, and I do remember this sequence from the novel where the kid, essentially whose perspective you've taken, it's third person omniscient, but you've essentially taken this kid's perspective. It's got sunstroke, and he is hallucinating that this rotting head of a pig on a stick is like some sort of deity. And like that sequence takes on a whole nother meaning when you understand the title. I don't know. I feel just sort of cheated, I guess, that I sat through an English class about this book. I read this book 20 fucking years ago and I didn't understand it then. And I didn't understand it until like a month ago when I stumbled upon this and something unrelated to this. And I went, oh, 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 you know, literature. It's not as if there's a whole class of teachers who are supposed to be dedicated to teaching these ideas. Moments like that are fun. They are. This one's frustrating because it frustrated me so much at the time. And this would have been interesting. This would have helped. You know, having any kind of real analysis for this would have been nice. Oh. Maybe I guess what I'm saying is I don't think that's a good summer school book. I always find it so strange when people cite a novel as evidence for human nature. Is like, yeah. I think that literature is a very important place to sort of play with and work out ideas and concepts. And I think that that's been demonstrated many times. It's a very powerful tool for that. But yeah, they're not real people. You know, and it reminds me of something interesting I watched recently about like the psychoanalysis of fictional people. Which on its surface would appear to be a waste of time. There's some books which are too rich to easily deconstruct in a class or for kids of a certain right. That may be one of them. But I digress. My ring doesn't fit today. Yeah. But I think Wayne and the Green Knight is a masterpiece. Probably wouldn't teach to anyone younger than 20. College English classes exist, right? I didn't really take any, but I have heard tell. And you know, of course, it's good that there's mature literature for such a class to cover. I taught college. Well, there you go. See, where was I? Doggone it! You made me lose my most fulfilling job I ever had. Oh, cool! Because they really want to be there, I guess. Yeah, literature as a vehicle for ideas. Yeah, they're not real people. Psychoanalysis of fictional people. Yeah, so that would seem to be a waste of time, right? But it's interesting because we can kind of flesh out some real world ideas in a safe environment, you know, where we're not judging a real person. Okay, we can use them as an illustration without having to worry about libel, essentially. But it's not always possible. Okay, especially for characters like, for example, Luke Skywalker, who has existed for 45 years or something like that, and has been under the pen of many different people in many different branches of their little media universe. Okay, everything from films, novels, graphic novels, sequels, prequels, right? Definitely. That's what I used to tell my students. We use stories to work out ideas that may even be too dangerous for real life. Yeah. Which is, you know, one of the uses of fiction that I think just scares the living shit out of some people, but they don't understand that's what you're doing, right? Why are you talking about these dangerous ideas? Well, they exist. So we thought we'd work them out in fiction on paper instead of, you know, trying them out in real life. Yeah. Wind. The cat's right here, so I know it's not the cat. I had to get a new tarp because he fell through the old one. I'm sorry. But it can also be really interesting. It's not always possible to psychoanalyze a character because they're not always consistent like a person. Okay? There's not necessarily a consistent drive. Margaret Atwood wrote The Handmaid's Tale, had several years later Abigail Shapiro, right? Oh my god. Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can find this picture. Here we go. Can you see that? That's the old tarp. Those are the holes where the cat fell through it. And that's why I had to go get another one. Because it really renders the entire exercise pointless. Trying to keep the water out when there's 2 basketball size holes in it. A rambunctious boy. Yes, he is. He jumped off the roof, I think is what it was. He's trying to figure out, like, this looks like a roof, but it's not one, and he can't quite figure out what is going on with that. I wish he would just stay off of it. Yeah. I see you over there thinking about it right now. But, additionally, it can be very interesting to psychoanalyze a character, like, say, from one film. You know, a character that exists within very strict set parameters that was written by a single person because they could have given them, you know, consistent motivations and whatever. And sometimes it can become quite impressive because sometimes it is done better than that. Sometimes a character is written consistently enough across iterations and across, you know, different sorts of media that it is possible to psychoanalyze them on that level. And that, as a writer, is both inspirational and intimidating. Like, on the one hand, I would love to see someone psychoanalyze one of my characters. How much fun would that be? As the writer, right? Not only to be flattered by such a treatment, but also just, you know, to see what they might say. That would be so interesting. And if they actually managed to come up with something that makes any sense, that means you wrote something that made sense. You wrote a person that seemed real enough that they seemed to have psychoanalysis, you know, psychoanalytical issues. You know. So you know, I guess I'm of 2 minds about it, but I don't feel like there's conflict there. But you got to remember they're not real people, and it can be frightening sometimes to talk to. I've definitely talked to some people who you want to say to them, you do remember so and so is fictional, right? Yeah, that can get a bit hairy. Ugh. But I so get it. You know, it's a bit strange. Me writing a series of fiction books because there are so many series of fiction books that have been recommended to me over the years that I did not read. Because I heard they were just so great. And like, I read Lord of the Rings in 7th grade and was obsessed with it for a year back before the movies existed. Okay. I haven't read Harry Potter. I don't need to. And I'm not saying that because I've seen the films. I'm saying that because I don't need to fall down that rabbit hole and live there for the rest of my life. Okay. Like, I haven't read Anne McCaffrey. I haven't read a whole lot of Heinlein either, which would break my mom's heart. I've been to his birthplace. That tells you anything about the people who raised me. They took us to Robert Heinlein's birthplace before they took us to Washington, D.C. So, make of that what you will. Excuse me. And those 2 places were approximately equidistant from where I grew up. For what that's worth. In opposite directions. But so, I haven't read a lot of stuff. And I know it is a source of embarrassment for me, on the one hand, entering into the fray of fiction in any way. A lot of it is because I'm playing with ideas. You know, that really is what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing it, you know. I mean, yeah, I want to tell a story. But, you know, what the fuck is the story about? And why the fuck should anyone care? But my reasons for not having read all this fiction are not because I do not enjoy fiction. No. Because I enjoy fiction a little too much and I have stuff to do. Which sounds weird, I guess. On the other hand, who the fuck reads Lord of the Rings at 12? 13? Something like that. Not because they saw the movies. Because it was a big, fancy, cool looking book. And everybody my mom knew had read them, so I wanted to read them. You know. Shit, I think everybody all the adults I knew either had read them or pretended to have had read them. I guess you would call that just, well, not peer pressure. Because they weren't my peers. But anyway. Yeah, and there's a whole lot of really potent fiction out there, isn't there? And it makes me think that maybe sometimes people don't appreciate this, give it the seriousness that it deserves. Because, oh, well, it's not real. No, but the ideas that it has are real. And the effects that it can have on people's lives are very real. So, the guy who came up with the idea of Atlantis actually wrote it as a fictional novel. And I'm not talking about Plato, but like everything else we know about Atlantis, a lot of the stuff that Edgar Casey, that psychic guy, said back in, 100 years ago now, was actually, I guess he must have read The Antediluvian World, which is a novel. It was written by an American politician in the 1890s whose name escapes me. But it's a novel. It was never intended to be taken seriously in the way that it was real. In the way that just has popped the fuck off. To the point where you have people now, supposed scientists, whose entire career is dedicated to proving this. So yeah, literature can be a powerful vehicle for ideas. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna look up that guy's name. He was an interesting fellow. And antediluvian just means before the flood. Fucking fancy Latin words over here. Come on. Ignatius Donnelly, who, by the way, was an abolitionist. And wrote another novel, actually, that was like, I guess, Freaky Friday, but with race. Which apparently is tacky as all shit because it was written by a 19th century dude. But, the moral of the story is that that beneath the skin, everyone is the same. So I don't think Ignatius Donnelly, the guy who came up with our modern concept of what the fuck Atlantis was, would really have a whole lot of truck with like white supremacism. I'm pretty sure he wasn't one. So the idea, all this stuff, like this ecosystem of, it's related to sort of your glorification of the past, right? Which, of course, conservatives do. But I had to decide a long time ago that that's why looking into the mysteries of ancient history ends up having you bump up against, racists. Because what sense does that make? You don't even necessarily know what race these ancient people were. Like races migrate. Like, you can't. And anyway, what the fuck? Who cares? Like, who cares what the fuck race built Göbekli Tepe? Who gives a shit? I mean, Maybe the people who live there do. But me, I'm not sitting here, well, was it white people that built it, though? Like, who gives a fuck? I don't care. What the fuck kind of a priority is that? So, I'm not looking into these ancient mysteries. Even fucking considering necessarily the color of the skin of the people. I'm kind of assuming they're sort of brown, honestly. Especially if it's in the Middle East in the Iron Age, they were probably kind of brown. Right? It's beside the point. So, for me, and for the larger scope of history, I think it's kind of beside the point. The human race, right? I'm looking at it from that perspective. And so it was really perplexing to me. Why on earth, looking into all these ancient mysteries and whatever, you end up bumping up against racists so commonly? But it's because of the glorification of the past has become wrapped up in this idea of Atlantis. Which is so interesting because, if you look at, I'm going to call him Hister because censorship. Okay, that's what supposedly the quatrain from Nostradamus referred to in 20th century Germany. Called him Hister. So we'll call him that because it's funny. What up, Dolly Love? How you doing? Anyway, so now I figured out what I'm going to call him. What the heck was I saying? But so they did not, the Hysterians, did not glorify an antediluvian world. It wasn't Atlantis that the people in early 20th century Germany were, glorifying. It was, their own sort of Teutonic, Aryan, European past. But that's right next door, isn't it? One mythic past is as good as another. Really. And here in the United States, especially, we really can't claim our locality in the way that they were. We can't say that we have a glorious mythic past here, because we all know that we don't. We have kind of a dirty, grubby, nasty past here, don't we? So, the idea that just kind of skipping past all that, back past all of that, to, the real roots of the matter would be appealing. Makes some sense. I can see that. But and it's so interesting though, because of course a lot of that white supremacy has its roots here in the 19th century in the United States. A lot of those ideas, a lot of those eugenicist ideas have a lot of their roots here in the United States, in the race relations here, such as they were. So the idea that the guy who wrote the original Atlantis novel as a novel was an American politician in the 19th century who was an abolitionist. I'm sorry, is this too esoteric? Is this too obtuse? This made me laugh. What is it, little butt?
How long do you have on your live stream?
20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yep. Why don't you, well, you can't reach the kitties. I bought us a couple, I don't know if anybody else shops at Walmart. Yeah. They have these little wooden toys. Well, there's a cat, there's a turtle, and there was one other one. I got us each a kitty cat. They're wooden, and they have articulated arms and legs and heads, and you can paint them. So that's what we're going to be doing after I get off here in a little bit. Oh, my throat hurts anyway. Ooh, seriously. I've been under the weather for a couple of weeks, I guess. Finally starting to feel better, so of course now my throat hurts. Can't win. Can't win. So I don't know. Am I missing the mark here? Does anybody else find this Ignatius Donnelly thing funny? The idea that he wrote this idea as a novel, aside from it being an illustration of how powerful literature is as a vehicle for concepts, ideas here, right? I think he was a little sloppy with his thematic work, was the other thing I was thinking, because we were talking about themes and why in the heck it is I wanted to write a novel in the first place. And I do. I think Ignatius Donnelly could have been more careful with his themes. in that. I really think that, whatever exactly point he was trying to make was overshadowed by the whole Atlantis thing. Because that's not come through. What?
I have what
Yeah.
I'm.
If you promise to go and let me finish, and you come back in 20 minutes if you want to, and I'll get off there. If I haven't already, okay? Because I did. I promised you. There you go. I promised you that we would play today. Now go on. Go on. Then walk away. Oh, where'd everybody go? No, but yeah, I just also think it's really funny. That the guy who came up with all these ideas that have just been absolutely latched onto by all these, conservative, glorified the past racist types was an abolitionist. Nobody remembers who the fuck he was. I just learned about this myself recently. And I just thought that was really funny. And yeah, in retrospect, perhaps if he had been more careful crafting the thematic part of his narrative. I mean, holy shit. You want to talk about ripple effects? He might have saved us a whole lot of trouble. No, probably not. Probably not. They would have just latched on to something else, right? Haters gonna hate, right? They're gonna find something. They're gonna find a reason. If you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If you want to be hateful, you'll find something to hate. It's not hard, right? I don't know if they do this everywhere. This is a local thing as far as I know, because I'm not from around here, and I notice that people do this often here. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I can't complain. And sometimes the response to that is, well, you could, but who would listen? Which is a complaint, I guess. But, I've heard this exchange so many times. I've had plenty of opportunity to ponder this. And it's tongue in cheek, right? Because of course we could complain. Anyone can. At any point. It is very easy to find something to complain about. That must be Southern humor. I don't know. Well, it's going to be really easy to get off of here in 20 minutes. Fair to Midland. Yeah. Right. That's a fun one, too. It's going to be super easy to get off here in 15 minutes because everybody's... everyone has abandoned me. Oh, well. I can talk to myself. I'm like expert level talking to myself. So that's not a problem. It should tell me somewhere on here, like, how many people are actually in the thing, right? But like, how do I get down to see it? Look on it. All that wants to do is take me down the chat window, which I don't want to do. Excuse me. Oh, there we go. 6. Okay. Y'all being quiet. That's fine. I do that too. I didn't mean for that to be a demonstration. I just couldn't think of anything like to say. See, now I'm just cracking myself up. I must be getting slap happy. I don't know. Talking to the camera is harder than talking to myself. Gravy over potatoes. It's so cold out where I am. Ooh. Loving my ferns. Thank you. Yeah. We got a little Scottish flag here because we went to the Scots-Irish Festival last week. I'm sorry it's cold where you are. I mean, sounds like you're unhappy about that. So. Some people like the cold, but I'm not one of them. It is a lovely day here. It is early autumn here. So it's nice, cool sweater weather until you step into the sun because this is the South. So it's a 10-degree difference between the sun and the shade, even in October. We got a little over 10 minutes. So maybe I should try and wrap things up. Basically, I am writing a novel, though. I wanted to talk about that a little more, but I guess this week's video must have been pretty good because we actually managed to stay pretty much on topic for a goodly portion of the time. And then, of course, rambling. We have to have rambling. But yeah, I expect to field questions. Hopefully I will get to field questions because hopefully anyone will care about, what my fictional influences were for my novel. And that's like going to be a really awkward question to answer because in large part, I don't read a lot of fiction, not because I do not enjoy it, but because I enjoy it too much and I have stuff to do. So consequently, I haven't read a whole lot of fiction in like 20 years because I decided I wanted to graduate high school. So, and I certainly don't have time now. Hopefully that's going to help me stand out, though. From the other stuff that's on the market these days, like the others, it's not going to have the same flavor as everything out there because I haven't read anything out there. But I do still exist in the same zeitgeist, so it's going to, I really love these live streams. Sometimes these conversations are so encouraging because they throw some of these ideas out there, the themes, which is the reason I wanted to write the damn book in the first place, was to sort of play with some themes and ideas and, connect some dots up and, draw a frame around it and, see what we got. That's what it's about. Well, conceptually. There is a story, I promise. And characters, they do stuff, and it's the whole thing, I promise. But John Steinbeck famously did this. I know that he's the one English teachers love to talk about when it talks about large social themes worked into the plot of a novel, right? And he has characters who famously are like specifically designed as archetypal presentations of blah idea, right? That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I did read The Grapes of Wrath. I hated it. God, I hated that. See, that's the other reason I don't read fiction. The last fictional book I read was The House of Sand and Fog, which I hated that book so much. It was a struggle to finish it. The only reason I finished it is because I don't like to start a book and not finish it. Which would be another reason I don't read a whole lot. But it was painful, and I did not feel like it gained anything from, frankly, and for some reason I read this one right after Wuthering Heights, which for some reason I really enjoyed, which I know is an unpopular opinion. Most people fucking hate Wuthering Heights, but I enjoyed it for whatever reason. I probably shouldn't tell people that that's an influence on my novel. It's not really, but the setting is close enough. Rural 19th century England, the setting is close enough that people might believe that. So, yeah, no. Oh, funny and sad. No, there's no one named Catherine in the whole book either. Much less both of my female protagonists. I'm sorry. What is with that? The damn thing is only 130 pages long or something like that. You couldn't give her a different name? What? Speaking as a writer, what is that? Oh. Yeah, I gathered it was supposed to be some sort of a a generational trauma kind of a theme, but like, oh gosh, there are other ways to do that than giving them the same name. Oh, now I'm complaining about a 200-year-old novel. I'm sorry. This is Nerd Town, in case no one knew that. Yeah. But so I'm fully expecting some interesting and awkward conversations about what exactly inspired me to write this book. Because they're gonna expect, oh, well, I really read blah book and loved it, and so I thought da da da, which, like, fine. Plenty of people are inspired to do a thing by seeing a thing. This is not what happened here. It's the kind of thing I'm tempted to pull a John Lennon. I'm tempted to come up with a quick, easy soundbite version. Anybody knows their pop music lore there? We shall be Beatles. You shall be Beatles with an A. Because the real story behind their name was boring. So, because people kept asking them, well, how did you come up with the name Beatles with an A? Ha ha, it's a pun. That's literally the story. Was he was like, hey, it's Beatles, like the Crickets from Buddy Holly's band. But we can put it with an A because it's, beat music. Like, it's literally just a pun. But so he came up with this whole tale that he'd had this prophetic dream. Because he got tired of telling a boring story over and over again, basically. Which is a dick move, in my opinion. But to come up with some sort of an elevator pitch version of, I'm going to have to, hopefully, not to toot my own horn or anything, but one hopes that you're going to field questions about the thing that you're releasing to the world, right? In case anybody hasn't heard yet, it is essentially Victorian historical fiction with witches. And I'm working on draft 2 right now. So we're hopefully going to have the first one ready to go to the editor by the beginning of next year. And I say we, I have, my friend, the web developer, who's going to help me promote it. My spelling is so bad, I never realized it was misspelled. What? Never realized what was misspelled, baby. Did I forget? Did I say something and then completely forget I said it? Because that's totally possible. One like to think not, but shoot. We all make mistakes. Speaking of mistakes, where did I put my, oh. You just ignore that. Oh, Beatles. You never realized it was misspelled. Oh, okay. Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that it's a pun because no one fucking calls it beat music anymore. They call it rock and roll. Just got back, sad. Almost missed the whole stream because I had to start dinner. Oh my god, so relatable. So relatable. And I would like to. Do you want me to leave it up like public for a little while? I usually make them private because I don't know. We didn't really touch on anything super personal in this one. Or really deep. But yeah, a lot of people don't realize that Beatles was a pun to begin with, and a lot of people just sort of take the name of the band for granted. Like a lot. Forgive me. He did say they were bigger than Jesus at one point. They were selling more Beatles records than albums. Or more albums than Bibles, is what it was. But, like, it's like that. The Bible. What the fuck does Bible mean? The fuck does Beatles mean? I don't know. It's just one of those things that you just sort of take for granted because it's always been there. Or maybe it's just a British spelling. Yeah, that's legit. That's legit. They do have a tendency to just have sort of different vowel combinations for no apparent reason. That's true. Crazy Brits. was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go in a couple of minutes. I just did want to mention the book because, gosh, that is, the other thing I'm sweating over. Because, yeah, I have the family, the kids, the relationships with other human beings in my life, and stuff that I got to do in support of and related to that. In addition to all my self care and all that stuff, I'm also writing a novel. So, I think it was last week or the week before, whichever one it was that I wasn't sick. I got like super wrapped up in that. And then it was Thursday, and I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be making a video for Saturday. So that might have been 3 weeks ago. Anyway, it doesn't. That happens sometimes too. So, and in case anyone is interested in the novel that I have been talking about for the last year or something, oh, okay, you're back. What up? Had to help my friend with French real quick. Bon, c'est bon. Excuse me. I was just sort of wrapping up because it is 2:00. And I did promise that boy I was going to play with him today, but I wanted to mention the novel and how that's going in case anybody is, interested in that. And it's going well enough that sometimes there was 1 week recently that I got wrapped up enough in it that I lost track of the days of the week, and I had to go, oh shit, I have to make a video. So, I don't know. I solved recently. I had two interesting, big things kind of fall into place for that, because the first draft is really just, you could just kind of get the story down, just to get it there, so you can look at it, and then in looking at it, you clarify a lot of things and maybe shuffle some stuff around and make you line it up better, line it up properly to get it, where how you want it, where you want it to aim at, and where you want it to take people, right? And in doing so, I discovered a couple interesting things. Well, first of all, I solved the mystery at the core of the third book. It's a series of 3 books. I'm referring to it as a novel because it is one story, but it's 3 books because, long stories have this thing. It's 150,000 words or something like that. Nobody wants to read 150,000. Plus, it has these two really obvious points of, like, it has section. I don't know. It just sort of formed this way. But, like, the third, so the first one is pretty straightforward, historical fiction with witches. And then the second, but it's all pretty much set up, pull back, right? Okay. And then the second one is it took me like a month to write the second book. Okay. Because it's boom, 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 boom. All the dominoes start falling over. Boom. Okay. And the second one is really punchy, and is, a lot of the action happens in the second book. Not that nothing happens in the first one, obviously. But it's Victorian historical fiction. If you're not there for a slow burn, well, unfortunately, you may be in the wrong book. But there is a payoff coming, I promise. And so the third one kind of takes the form of a mystery almost. Well, it is a mystery. And it kind of ended up taking the form of sort of a mystery story, wherein everybody is dealing with the ramifications of the shit that happened in book 2 and trying to put together what the fuck all that was. Okay. And I solved the mystery in the third book. Like, I found the key. This sounds really stupid. Talking about the writing process is weird. But I did. I found this really key, sort of keystone bit of the third novel that the whole rest of the thing is spinning around. So that's good. And also, this sounds really backwards, but like, I discovered that the hero of the story is not the protagonist. So that's fun. Like, she's not even... It's a sort of a Watson and Holmes kind of thing almost. Which is a fun little period reference that I'm going to totally pretend I did on purpose. All right, Renee, damn. She's gone. Okay, it's 2:02. Oh, and I got to go because I told that boy I was going to play with him. And I got to take care of myself real quick first. But thank you so much for hanging out with me, everybody. Really. It's a lovely day here, and I hope everybody else is having a lovely day, whether the weather is cooperating or not. And, going to be coming at you next week with an interesting kind of a right-left dichotomy, sort of, like I say, I think in a lot of ways, what we're seeing on the extreme kind of ends of the cultural spectrum is two different manifestations of the same thing. So we're going to analyze that a little bit, and that's going to be fun. For now, I hope everybody enjoyed, and I will see y'all next week. And yeah, I guess to go, y'all. So Philological, Mary, if you're still here, Critical Kitty, mwah, mwah, mwah. And Red Blaren, of course. Who I don't need to blow a kiss to. So all right. It's been almost 5 extra minutes. I got to go, y'all. I'm sorry. I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Bye-bye.